visit with you a little bit about Good Friday. You know, I've always had these lingering questions in the back of my mind when it comes to Good Friday. First of all, what is so good about this day? And secondly, is it right to call the day that Jesus was crucified good? I mean, clearly what happened on that hill outside of Jerusalem over 2,000 years ago was nothing short of horrible. It was gruesome, to be exact. Jesus was falsely accused of heresy, and he was put to death in the most brutal of ways, crucifixion. So as I was thinking about my questions about what's so good about Good Friday and why would we want to call it that, I realized that one of the reasons we can be comfortable with that name, Good Friday, is because the reality of Good Friday isn't limited to that historical event in the early first century. I mean, the cross, think about it, the cross has far-reaching implications for people of all generations. Far-reaching implications. I mean, cosmic even, if you think about it, for you and for me, for our children, for our children's children, and so on. Because in Jesus, God comes down into the fullness of human dysfunction, right? In Jesus, God comes down into the fullness of our bigotry, our terrorism, our disloyalty, our brokenness, our sin. In Jesus the Christ, God wears the body of anyone who is lost and broken, of every single one of us. And that, while very, very humbling, is certainly good news. On Good Friday, we recall and we remember. We recall and we remember. And we commit to continue living into that universal truth, that cosmic truth, that God is willing to get caught in the chaos of our world. God is willing to take on our brokenness and to transform it by loving us through the life and death of Jesus Christ. God reimagined the world and the possibilities for it, for us. So I want to invite you to take some time, if you will, at the foot of the cross, at the foot of Jesus's cross. Oh, I know. I know that time at the foot of the cross will no doubt be uncomfortable. But I also know that it carries with it the potential to be fruitful. Amidst that hardship and that suffering at the foot of the cross, we can also experience a love that makes us whole, a love that sets us free. Not just any love, a sacrificial love that makes our Easter joy complete. And every bit of that goodness can be found beneath the cross of Jesus. Beneath the cross of Jesus, I fain would take my stand. The shadow of a mighty rock within a weary land, a home within the wilderness, a rest upon the way from the burning of the noontide heat and the burden of the day. the very dying form of one who suffered there for me. And from my stricken heart with tears to wonders I confess the wonder of redeeming love and my unworthiness. I take, O cross, thy shadow for my abiding place. I ask no other sunshine than the sunshine of his face, content to let the world go by, to know no gain nor loss, my sinful self, my only shame, my glory, all the cross. I want to read from the gospel, the good news. Mark chapter 15, verses 22 through 39. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means skull place. They tried to give him wine mixed with myrrh, but he didn't take it. They crucified him. They divided up his clothes, drawing lots for them to determine who would take what. It was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The notice of the formal charge against him was written, "The King of the Jews." They crucified 2 outlaws with him, one on his right and one on his left. People walking by insulted him, shaking their heads and saying, "Ha! So you were going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, were you? Save yourself and come down from that cross." In the same way, the chief priests were making fun of him among themselves, together with the legal experts. "Oh, he saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. Let the Christ, the King of Israel, come down from that cross. Then we'll see and believe." Even those who had been crucified with Jesus insulted him. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, the whole earth was dark. And at 3, Jesus cried out with a loud shout, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you left me?" After hearing him, some standing there said, "Look, he's calling Elijah." Someone ran, filled a sponge with sour wine, and put it on a pole. He offered it to Jesus to drink, saying, "Let's see if Elijah will come to take him down." But Jesus let out a loud cry and died. The curtain of the sanctuary was torn in two from top to bottom. When the centurion who stood facing Jesus saw how he died, he said, "This man was certainly God's son." And there beneath us stands the cross, 2 arms outstretched to save, like a watchman set to guard the way. From that eternity